So you guys remember how I used to have a lot of issues with this monitor? I was having a lot of issues with it 2 hours ago. It was flickering on and off about every 5 seconds. And then whenever I tried to display something on there, sometimes it would have like red pixels outlining it. So I got really frustrated and just like that, and punched it really hard, much harder than I did there, because I don't undo the fix. I was expecting just to break it because I paid $8 for it. Who cares? It's a crappy old monitor from like 2004. Working now. So, looks like violence is the answer. It's kind of funny how sometimes punching something can be the fix. Like for instance, if an old television has issues, you can just pop it on the side of the box, and sometimes it'll help clear up any issues. Bad connections, who knows? Yeah. There's something I feel kind of guilty about, but yet not. I recently got, or actually, at the beginning of the month, I decided, you know what? At least one time in my life, I'm going to spend a bunch of money on a pair of headphones. And I'm just going to see, what is it like to have an extremely nice pair of headphones? Granted, I still like my cheap, shitty ones from the 1980s, my orange Walkman ones. But I shelled out $300 for these Bose Quiet Comfort 25s, and to be honest, they're actually pretty nice. I like them. They're definitely not everyday use. Well, they're definitely not whenever you want to focus on anything other than the audio. But if I'm wanting to edit videos, or if I'm wanting to watch videos, like just where I'm focusing just on the videos, like pretty much anything in this room or in an airplane, because they're quiet, because they're like they're very quiet, they're like sound dampening or whatever. Although most of the time, if I'm ever listening to something, I want to be able to hear if like somebody is like walking up behind me or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, there's always that suspicion in the back of my head where I don't want to be vulnerable because of it. So it's a very limited use. Definitely not worth $300 if you have other things you can put $300 into. But for me, I've been going through and buying a lot of stuff that I really want. And so now I'm starting to go to the things that is like, you know what? That might, I didn't really thought about getting it, but it would actually have a use. Like for instance, I mostly just got that because I wanted to have quietness on the plane. But it turns out they're actually pretty fucking good. Yeah. Now, the reason I feel dirty is because the only place that actually had them in stock around here was Apple. So I had to go to the den of the hipsters and that's so dirty. It came with a case though, so that's kind of cool. Now, a legitimate complaint though, the main Apple store, the one that's it's at the Apple headquarters over in Cupertino. I drive by the Apple headquarters every day, and I almost get run over by an Apple employee almost every day too, because they just do not fucking look where they're turning. They're just pieces of shit. Fucking. That's another whole other story though. But, you know, maybe like whenever they're getting to work, maybe they've like stopped thinking about actually driving and they're just thinking about like, oh, their meetings and all the fancy like stuff they're gonna do. I don't know. Or maybe they're just a bunch of idiots. But either way, I'm not a fan of Apple's style, but I really didn't think they would have a store that was so fucked up. Because their store doesn't have a checkout line, really. There's really no place to check out. You just kind of, you find an associate, and they have like some barcode thing here, but really what you do is you walk in, and there's these people with a bunch of shit, and they just throw it onto the nearest table, which is like a display table, and they're all doing the thing, but then it's like, oh, this person wants to see something that's on the table, like some tablet or whatever the fuck they're called. And it's like, well, what? Here's an idea. Why don't you get a table and it's just for checking out? Who would have thought of that fucking idea? Maybe call it a checkout counter? So infuriating. I mean, because then you could just have one person instead of having to have like all these other people that have like all the capabilities to do that and all in their hand. It's like, it just seems stupid and weird. The normal store model where you have a counter with somebody behind the counter with a computer able to take your credit card or whatever, or take your cash and do it, that seems to work fine. I don't understand why they have to have it to where it's like, oh, somebody, it's like a mobile salesman that they just kind of like, oh, let's do the checkout line right here on top of this display thing where there's all the other products, and it's like, so besides it being kind of a mess, it's also Apple. Yeah. But hey, at least these aren't Apple, so that's good. I just got it through them. That's kind of cool. These are pretty good seals. Whoops. Oh, there. That's interesting. But again, even though I feel a little dirty because of how I had to go to the den of the hipsters to get them, or the headquarters of, ugh. I do like them. They're kind of nice. If I made less money, like if I was still in Illinois, fuck that, I'd be going for the 25-cent headphones at Salvation Army. But now that I have a little bit of money, and they're kind of cool. I don't think I'm ever going to buy another fancy pair of headphones again, though. One pair is good enough. At least that's my opinion right now. I don't know. So many mixed feelings. You know what I mean? There's been tons of reviews for these headphones, though, so I don't need to review them. It's not my kind of style, you know? Reviewing older ones from the 80s or 70s would be cool, though. It also came with a weird cable that... no idea what this is for. Some buttons, but it doesn't do anything. So... it's a weird connector, too. It has like 4 segments on it. I don't really know what that's about. Because like, for instance, a normal connector... it just has 3. That's what stereo is. Oh, what the fuck? That's not even... this is like a tinier one. That's fucking weird. I don't fucking know. Well, that's been on my mind today. Not much either. These are pretty nice for like... for enjoying Final Fantasy. But I could never be one of those people that just like walks around with headphones. I don't understand that. How can you walk around with headphones on? Granted, I can kind of understand if you have to do a repetitive task. For instance, if you're mopping the floor, I could see about having headphones that don't really block out any sound and like listen to the radio or something like that. I can kind of see that if your job was very like tedious. But to be honest, even with tedious jobs, I don't understand the idea of having audio or listening to music when you're doing that. Because if you want to listen to music, I think you should set aside time and kind of like sit back and relax and listen to the music for a minute or two, and then it stops. But I'm not a very musical person, so whatever. It also kind of worries me that Bose boasts about them using zinc for the cast pieces. It's like, zinc? Cast zinc? Because of all the experiences I've had with zinc, zinc is like super weak. It like kind of crumbles almost in your fingers, and it's like super breakable. So, I don't know. That doesn't fill me with a whole lot of confidence, but you'd think they'd use aluminium instead of zinc. Oh well. So yeah, I have no idea what my opinions are on this. Kind of mixed. The product itself, great. But kind of a limited use. Because I'm not a super music listener kind of person. I wear this whenever I'm playing on my like desktop, and when I haven't done it on the airplane yet, but I can't wait to try it on the airplane because I think the sound dampening would be pretty cool. I don't know. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. See ya!